So I'm looking at my concept picture and I'm thinking what kind of house this is, and I'm guessing this is some kind of like Mediterranean house, something something. So I'm starting to gather some references I found of like these Italian houses, and I just try to pick apart the different components that I want. So this entire house is a bit of a trigger for me because it was one of the reasons why I temporarily abandoned this project. It's not even like the house isn't even that big in the drawing, but I decided to take it to the next level, and that completely backfired. And I'm gonna go through why that is. Um, anyway, so I first created my first iteration of a brick wall. At this point, I'm still a bit new to Substance Designer, so I was just following different tutorials, trying to puzzle together something that would work for what I wanted. And because I didn't know any better, I thought, well, I'm pretty happy with this. But as soon as I got into the engine, I just felt that something really wasn't matching my style. It felt a bit, I don't know, too gritty, a bit realistic, but not really, and is not really matching my style. So I'm feeling a bit stuck. So a friend of mine told me to try out this amazing tutorial by Jimmy Malakir on ArtStation, and I think it kind of started helping me unlock the way you're supposed to think in Substance Designer for stylized materials, and I was able to maybe understand 5% of it, and I ended up with something like this. And then in the same like idea of making the tires, I was making the roof, and I thought, well, I'm gonna make every tile by itself, and I don't know. At this point, everything just started clashing. The roof is like super high detail with individual tiles, and the van as well, but the bricks of the house are looking too toony for what I want to make, and my trim sheets objects are just looking very amateurish, and the art direction is whack and all over the place. And this is actually when I gave up on the project and put it on hold. So the same friend visited me once again and asked me how my project was going, and I reluctantly opened the scene. And he was looking at it, and he was like, it's not that bad if you touch up some textures, recreate the house, and so on. It's gonna be okay.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up!
That's right! Let's go!
So the very first thing I do is just to redo my brick texture, which I kind of felt like was the main offender in a way. Um, I kind of feel like now that I had already done it once, it was both much easier to redo it, but I could also do a little more personalized decisions when remaking this to kind of more fit my style. And I'm planning out my trim sheet a little differently, as you can see from my beautiful color ID map here. I'm just trying to, uh, kind of just nail down which kind of trims I want. And this is the final trim sheet that I settle on. I'm trying more to reuse the techniques I learned from Jimmy's tutorial, and I feel like this time around the pieces are fitting much better than last time. And this time around, I'm just very quickly trying to see how my pieces go together with my trim sheet, and I'm also just trying them out in Unreal. And so far, I feel like it's a much better match than last time around. I'm also trying more to do these intersectional pieces because I feel like one thing that really didn't work last time was that pieces didn't really feel like they were fitting together. So I feel like if I do these kind of pieces that are just meant to be in between other pieces, they're gonna fit together better. As for the roof, I'm just kind of going back to basics because I kind of feel like if I create the roof tiles the same kind of way I'm making the brick wall in Substance Designer, that is, then I'm gonna get a much more coherent kind of visual style. So I'm just doing the classic thing of a flat roof with some tiles at the very end that are sticking out. And it's also worth noticing that I do some kind of subdivision displacement on the roof, and this is actually what I do to a lot of my objects. It adds a little geometry, but I kind of like what it's kind of giving. It is basically just a displacement modifier with usually a Voronoi noise on top of it. This is kind of like a technique that I started using after I tried to imitate Urban Anna's watercolor picture. It just gives very nice variation to the edges and some kind of imperfection. It gives a little bit of life to the 3D. Anyway, so then I also do the same thing with the roof and getting them into Unreal. And then on Unreal, I set up the vertex painting thing where you know blend two different materials, which is in this case regular bricks and then regular bricks with moss that I missed to write out here, and then you have the plaster on top of that. This is a very common technique that people use in Unreal that I hadn't been using until now, but I really wanted to try it, so this was my opportunity to do so. But yeah, I think pretty much every stylized piece that you see that has any kind of house usually employ this. I mean, not even stylized, it's like realistic as well. So this is where the house is at now at this point. I'm pretty happy with it. One thing that I've kind of thought about lately is that displacement modifier thing that I always do on buildings. And I don't know, I've been questioning it a little bit more lately because it's a bit sporadic, you don't really have that much control over it, and I'm not even sure I love the result so much. I mean, it does its job in a way, but I feel like there's something that's missing. But until I understand what I dislike about it, I'm just gonna leave it. Um, and yeah, I think we're ready for the next step, which is vegetation.